Okay, so this video is actually quite random, and I think it's quite specific to you, because that's kind of the intention I put into this video. And I actually just have one question. Why are you following rules that do not exist? My name is Amelie, I'm a multi-passionate creative, and I help people create soul-led lives and career paths that actually align with them, and not with just what the world wants from them. So let's talk about it. If you're like me, you're probably a very creative, sensitive, maybe even multi-passionate person. I do believe my videos find the exact right people. And if you're like me, you probably felt a little out of place in this world ever since you were young. And this may have really, really hurt as a child. This may have caused a lot of trauma, or has just made you feel really odd throughout the years. You may have noticed that you were a little bit different in school, and even later on, you noticed that your ambitions, your aspirations, your pace, your way of living, your dreams were all a little bit contrary to most of the other people's dreams or ambitions or paces were out there. Whenever it felt like the world was going one way, there was like this slight icky feeling of like, I feel like I want to go the other way. And maybe you're a kind of person that has allowed themselves to go the other way at some times, or maybe you haven't done that. And maybe you have tried to fit in, to conform, to live life like the others, to walk the path that was laid out in front of you by society, your parents, by school, by teachers, whoever it might be. Or maybe it has just been from your logical mind. Your logical mind is telling you to just be normal. Because listening to that intuitive voice within that actually most of the time, unfortunately, tells us to go the entirely different route, path, or way from what everyone else seems to be going down. And since there's usually no blueprint for that, that would be so scary. Of course, our logical mind is kind of protecting us from that. But what if I told you that you are here to create your own blueprint? Let that sink in. And there have probably already been so many shifts that have happened in the past few weeks, months, or even a few years, but it's really hitting the fan right now. You notice that even though at a point in life, it seemed so much easier to conform, to walk the normal path, to do what's not fully right, but kind of to the logical mind is, it is now becoming more and more unbearable. And for so many people, it seems so normal. And why can't life just be easy? Why can't you just pick one thing? Why can't you just do one thing? Why can't you just make sense? Why can't you just live your days or lives or your career path or act in certain ways like you are supposed to? Why does it feel so hard and performative, and why does it feel so frustrating? Why does it feel like it's truly draining your life force energy when everyone out there is doing it and they seem to be fine? But you've been probably ignoring that tiny whisper, and nobody teaches us this in school, that faint noise of your intuition that has always been there, that has told you that the way you are is actually a gift and is actually incredibly valuable to you, the people around you, the people that you're meant to call in, and the world in general. But as it usually does, the logical mind has overpowered that voice. And ignoring that voice used to be easier. You think, but I used to be fine. Why do I have such little energy? Why do I struggle with maybe gut issues or health issues in general? And all of those different, no matter if it's spiritual, emotional, or physical symptoms or like kind of messages, nudges from your intuition are kind of manifesting themselves. Even if it's just like loss of energy or you not feeling as motivated as you used to, or just something feeling slightly off. Well, let me tell you, that's the time we're currently living in. The world's energy is rising rapidly, and it is not allowing us to stay in a frequency, in a reality, in an embodiment that is not aligned and 100% true to who we are and who we came here to be. Like I said, your intuition has always felt that you were a little bit different from the people around you. And even if you're already a person that really doesn't like to fit into the status quo and actually actively fights against it, this video has found you because there's still so much left to uncover. And no, I'm not saying this to be like, you should do more, you should whatever, uncover more. Uncovering at the end of the day should be the easiest thing that we would ever have to do. Often we carry so many blocks, limiting beliefs, and so much resistance within our nervous system and our body that it can feel like the hardest thing to do. But what I'm telling you right now, and this is why this video found you, is that first of all, you didn't come here to be ordinary. Second of all, you came here to create your own blueprint. And third of all, right now is the time where so much light is being shown onto the planet that it is physically, spiritually, emotionally impossible for you to not live life on your own terms. And when I say live life on your own terms, I mean it in every single way possible. Why are you waking up at a certain time because you think it's productive? Just because the world has kind of been telling you that it is productive. Even if you're already following the path that feels right to you and that feels like this is my soul's path, why are you still conforming in specific ways? Why are you posting on certain platforms? Why are you doing specific things? Why are you dressing in specific ways that don't feel good to you? I want you to go deeper. I want you to have a look at every single area of your life and ask yourself the question, what would I do if I were the last person on the planet? What if I tune within and ask myself, what feels good to me? What feels right? What if you tuned out all the voices outside of you, all the shoulds and supposed tos, the voices from your parents, from your boss, from the world, society, of how things have always been done? What if you tuned out everything and all you were left was the voice of your soul and your intuition, which, by the way, even if you think you're not very connected to your intuition, you are. I know for a fact that you are. And I want you to go for these different areas of life and your career and your daily routines and literally every single area you can think of and ask yourself, how can I live more in tune with my soul? Doing that should feel, literally, and that's how I always imagine it. Imagine you just clenching your fist or just making your entire body go tense, or just like holding your breath and then just letting go. That's what it should feel like to live in your own blueprint. And this should be the easiest thing to do because it is reconnecting, it is returning. It should actually just be removing layers and returning to softness, surrendering to who you've been all along. But since our souls came onto this planet to actually experience this growth and to experience this kind of like disconnection from our truth and from source, it can feel like there's so many blocks and so much resistance. And like I said, we will often wake up, even though we felt super inspired the day before, and we will wake up and we'll have often forgotten about most of it and just return to old habits or old ways of living and thinking. What if the key to getting everything that you've ever wanted, everything that your soul really, really desires, all the wishes that you currently have, everything that you're working towards, what if the shortcut, what if the actual meaning of life was to create your own blueprint, to live fully as yourself, in tune with your soul, and actually using your soul and your intuition as a compass? And if you're thinking, okay, we talked a lot about intuition and soul, but how do I listen to my soul? How do I find my own blueprint? Your soul will communicate through feelings of peace, a feeling of knowing. Fear will often communicate, you should not do this because this will happen, and then this will happen, and this might happen, and you just feel the anxiety and the tension and just this circle of thoughts. And intuition will communicate with, you should not do this. Your intuition and your soul often don't have a train of thoughts going behind the statement or the thing that your intuition or soul wants you to do. And that's what makes it so hard in this logical world. We live in a world that is very disconnected from the magic of intuition and is very, very logical and mind-based. The thing with intuition is it's very simple. It is very peaceful. It is usually quiet. It doesn't beg for attention unless it's been ignored for years and years to come. It doesn't push. It doesn't fight. It is very much the energy of source. And the thing of intuition especially, and this is really important for souls like ours, is that intuition will often tell us to do the exact opposite thing of what we think we should do logically. Intuition tells us when everyone goes one way, and our logic tells us this is what we should do, and everyone around us tells us this is what we should do. Our intuition will most likely tell us to go the other way, and that is scary. Because it often leads us into the unknown. It leads us into trusting, into surrendering. So what would happen if you surrendered to your soul, to your intuition? What if you gave this a shot? What if you thought back to moments where you trusted a peaceful inner knowing and something good came out of it? Because the more we tune into intuition, it's like a relationship. The more we tune into it, the more we trust it, and the more we actually honor it by listening and actually following the intuition. It's like a friendship. The more it trusts to come forward, and soon you will notice that your intuition becomes so undeniably strong that you can't even and don't even want to ignore it. Building your relationship with your own intuition and your own soul is the most important thing that you will ever do in your life on this planet. period. And as soon as you start to listen to your intuition in those small ways, and you actually notice that following your intuition is not scary, it's not wrong. Even though we're walking into the unknown, it is often more safe to walk the fearful path and to follow our fear instead of our intuition, because at least it gives us a tiny bit of control. But tuning into your intuition and having a deep connection to your own soul is how you create your own blueprint. And imagine how exhilarating it is to not have to follow anyone else's compass, anyone else's map, anyone else's path, because you've had a compass within you all along. Every answer that you've ever wanted, every answer that you will still need in the future is within you. You have a divine sacred compass right at your fingertips. So when will you start trusting it, and when will you start using it? So this was a really intuitive video. I feel like this is meant to reach the kind of people that it's meant to reach. I feel like that's the intention I put into all my videos. As always, you can find everything in the show notes down below. I have a free inner magic activation that you can download for free, and you can find my Substack, my website, my Pinterest, the community I'm building, and all my offers, and so much more down below. As always, please subscribe, leave a like or a comment. It really helps show my videos to more people. It helps more than you know, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Sending you love.